Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of Super Sunday for the Weekend Warriors here at Apex Racing TV. If you were for the Formula Fords earlier on, well, it was an absolute cracker. Everyone returning back to the Weekend Warriors, first time in the Formula Fords, and well, first time in fact he'd ever driven the car and run out victor here today. But now it's the time for the SRFs. What's going to happen? Well, who knows, but with nearly 50 cars on track, we know we're in for a cracker. I am Tim Cox, Samuli Kume's in the virtual protection trailer, and Charles Bashar will join us very, very shortly. Let's just take a look at the championship standings, though. Only one round, realistically. And, well, from last season, Marco Panera, again, reigning champion. Absolutely dominant, and, well, he's back again tonight, although having qualifying quite his way, shall we say, right now. Jason Green second, then it was Yangshi Lin in third. If he'd been with us for the whole season, you have to wonder what he could have achieved. Let's have a little cross into Spec 2 now, and how things rounded out there. Well, it was Ian Gibson taking the victory in the championship. Josh Justice second, only by 9 points at the end, and Paul Jackson finishing third. Across into Masters now, and well, Masters, it was competitive all season long, but your victor, Jorg Marni over Tom Gradwell, who was the reigning champion, finished second. Not a bad result, all things considered. Kurt Nunes clinched that third place in the championship in the end, and well, those some real big heavyweights overcame. I mean, Jim Brewster, who finished third in the season prior, season 3 of 2023, only good enough for 10. No less. But across to today, and well, another cracker, no doubt, Charles Bushell. I mean, if it's half as good as what we've just had, it's going to be an epic race.
Absolutely, Tim. Yeah, the first race was fantastic. And so the elements that made that first race so good were the battles up front because of the draft that the cars had. The track itself, because it's such a difficult track to drive, and then of course we had a good sized field for Formula Ford, so now we're going to throw 50 cars at this track, in cars that handled differently, as we heard from Trenton Kramer after the first race, but they're a little bit bigger, can kind of do a little fender banging. and survive, and then they draft much better than the Formula Fords do. So this is going to be, as long as we don't have a bunch of huge pileups, this is going to be a fantastic race to watch.
It is, and just look at the amount of, as they stand at the moment in qualifying, the amount of Masters drivers we've got in the top 10. They make up half of the top 10. We've got 3 Spec 2 guys, including Trenton Kramer in 10th place, who we were just mentioning about. 3 temps covering our top 10, with only 0.15 of a second covering our top 3.
Yeah. Actually, that's 15 thousandths. So
well, yeah, yes, it is, isn't it? Yes, I was trying to be all American and impress you, but yes.
Oh, yeah. No, it's, no, I mean, I was looking up and down the board. 15 thousandths separating the top 3. And then you got 3 milliseconds between Montgomery and Plevin, 5 and 6. At one point in time, I think Green and Kabanka, they're a millisecond off now. I think they were dead heat down to the 1,000th. And we've got 25 plus drivers that are within a second of pole. So this just goes to show you the quality of drivers that we have in this race, and just how competitive these guys are, and how tight this battle is going to be from start to finish.
Well, yeah, it's just seeing Chris Montgomery there coming around to complete his lap, see if he improves at all. Top qualifying Spec 2 at the moment, although they've on an out lap, so he's just starting his flying lap. I'm just trying to quickly tot it up, Charles, to be a second off the pace. You've pretty much got to go down to, realistically, I'd say, Andrea Fabini. But he's 0.8 off the pace.
Yeah,
just 0.8 off the pace. That gets you down in 29th. There we go, smoothly finding the driver. Ryan Walker, the Scot, he is a second off the pace, and he's languishing, dare I say, in 31st. That's how tight and competitive it is here today. But we didn't have earlier on. We've got bomb drafting now with these cars.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, these cars can just link up, and it just makes them go that much quicker. We're looking at the lap times. The lap times are about 3 seconds slower than the Formula Ford that we saw earlier. But as we talked with Trenton Kramer after the race, he said the cars basically drive the opposite. The Formula Ford is very understeery. The tail just wants to kick out every corner. He said with these cars you have to kind of massage them, because they understeer quite a bit into the corner, so you have to just kind of be careful. So for the guys that ran the first race, I don't know how much of an advantage they get just by logging laps here as we would normally see, because it is a different driving style that's involved.
I mean, bizarre in some ways, because rear-wheel drive, the engine and the gearbox are at the rear of the car, so all the weight is at the rear. So you think maybe it might oversteer a bit more, but then I suppose you could argue, well, all the weight is gripping those rear tyres into the ground, so that's going to make it understeer.
Yeah. There's no weight in the front, so the tires don't really hook up as well on the front end. So it just wants to just kind of slide through the corner. So that's something that the drivers are going to have to be aware of and manage during the course of the race. We see Jason Green. I think he wisely stayed wide on that, as it was like too wide on the or to the outside of him, or to the inside of him. As we see a car bounce off the barricade. So yeah, I think he just decided he was just going to abort that corner and just kind of reset.
But it's so tricky with so many cars out on track to find a space to pull over safely. So quite often we'll see the drivers move off onto the grass, just plough it into the wall to keep out of everyone's way. As Jorg Marni was the second car you clocked there, Charles, who was doing exactly the same as what Green was. Here comes Panero. He was languishing a bit at the start of qualifying, but he's picked things up here. Currently leader by, well, it was 12 thousandths, now 1200ths of a second over Marni. He's lying in second place as things stand at the moment. But we've got 3 minutes left in qualifying. And, as you mentioned when we spoke to Trenton Kramer earlier on after the Formula Fords and his victory in Spec 2 there, is that, the slipstream is so powerful around this track. And he said that was the difference between himself and Chris Montgomery, who clinched pole, was that Chris Montgomery had a tow pretty much for 3 quarters of the track, whereas Trenton didn't have any whatsoever. And I think maybe that's just, what we're seeing here. It's just getting it timed just right, behind the right car, catching at the right time. And if you are behind someone, if they have a similar pace, and having to slingshot yourself up through the standings.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that's a lot of that is involved in that is getting the toe at the right time on the track to maximize your lap pace. Because, I mean, realistically, unless something bad happens, you're going to be in and around the toe pretty much the entire race. I mean, like I said, unless something happens and you fall back to the back and you have to try and make up time, there's always going to be another car around for you to get a bit of a slipstream off of, or unless you're leading, of course.
Seeing Sergio Girelli there in the 86 machine 3 weeks ago at Watkins Glen, managed to get onto the podium, third place. He's up an incredible 22 positions. Now, I mean, talk about stars aligning, Charles. He's in 25th at the moment. Up 22 places would put him into third overall. Are the stars aligning again?
Obviously, he did a really, really great job last week with the race, and not so much there, as we saw two cars, had one go wide, one kind of kicked the inside curb, and so no really place for him to go there. So he's got damage. So this lap will probably not be any better for him. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. This is one of those races that we've talked about this before, because of the way the track is. We could have a really fantastic race like we had at VIR, where we had this train of like 25 cars during the entire race for the most part, or we could have catastrophe like we had, I think, in the Formula Fords at Road Atlanta, where the top 6 cars were involved in the same incident at the early part of the race, and one car survived to just basically walk away. So it's, the first lap here is going to be very critical about being able to get the tires warmed up, to get the right operating temp, and make sure that you don't have any contact or get caught in something that not you're doing, which happens more often than not when you have a big grid like this.
Yes, I spy with my little eye something beginning with David Gasper's 5 times SRF Weekend Warriors champion down in 34th, having done 14 laps in qualifying. That's I mean, that's borderline disastrous for him, isn't it, really?
I mean, it really is, but I mean, he was another one of those cars that I think kind of started in the back last time.
He did,
yes. Was working his way up through the field, but then got collected in one of those incidents that was not of his own doing. And so didn't have the result that Girelli had. So, he may just be saying, you know what, I'll just ride around, and, I may not even set a time, or I may set a low time, and I may just pit start and just work his way up through. So I don't know. It's obviously he doesn't have anybody in front of him to help him down the straightaway. So that's probably compromising his lap pace a bit. Yeah, to be fair, he's only 1.2 seconds off pole. So it's not like it's just a huge amount of time.
Useless fact as well, the number 2 of David Gasper's right now, he's got Jeff Cantor behind him in 35th. There's an 8,000 iRating difference between the pair of them, and that number, Charles, is higher than our second highest iRating driver in the field, which is Marco Pinero, who has 7,770.
That's a lot.
Yes. If I had that much iRating, Charles, I'd have a nosebleed from being that high up.
If you've watched these guys, we've got some streamers that are in that 10K area, and you almost have to win every race just to keep what you've already earned. Because there are so few drivers at that the way the iRating works is you get into a split that the SOF is 3 or 4K below you, and if you don't win, something happens. You end up losing, that 50 or so iRating, and it only takes a couple of those before you become a 9.9K driver again.
It's so hard to keep hold of once you're up in these higher echelons, isn't it? It's It takes a lot of pace, skill, and dedication. But as we've transitioned across into the race part of the server, let's take you through your grid for what is technically round 2, although it's week 4 of the season of the SRF Weekend Warriors. Marco Panero on pole with York Marnie, top qualifier in Masters, joining him on the front row. Then it's another Masters and Spec row in the form of Antonio Race and Jason Green on row 2. And then we follow things up, same format. Spec 1 and Masters, it's a Les Plaver and Jeff Fritcher on row 3. Row 4 sees our top qualifier in Spec 2 in the form of Chris Montgomery next to Christian Kabanka. Murakami and Payne ran out the top 10 and row 5 of the grid. And then row 6 is Bradshaw and Trenton Kramer, was winning the Formula Ford earlier on here today. Kate Lasky starts next to Evandre Dantas with Jason Perry and Bobby West making up row 8. Row 9, Kurt Nunes and Claudio Gardini. Row 10, the top 20, that's Arthur Lorio and Alan McCain. Arian Jusovics, got out in the end, didn't spot his name earlier, on to cover myself with that one, starts next to Tom Gradwell on row 11, while row 12, it's Jess Jacobson and Stephen Mitchell. Row 13 is Sergio Dorelli, starting from 25th, as we said earlier, you know, up 22 spots. Last time out of Watkins Glen to finish third. Can he do it again here today, the Argentine? He's got Flavio Andalo for company next to him. Then we've got Pocock and Nelson on row 14 with Favini and Bruce running at top 30 and row 15. Row 16, that's Bradford Gould and Ryan Walker, while Chris Thorpe is next to David Gaspers, who were just talking about 10k iRacing. Watch for him coming through the field, that's for sure. Jeff Cantor has Phil Berry for company on row 18, while row 19 is Josh Justice and Stevie Ray. Brad Cathcart and Charles Vaccaro make up row 20 in the top 40 in an all-masters row. Then we've got Josh Perlett and Gary Walbolt with John Smith and Sean Vincent on row 22. Row 23, that's Bryce Evans and Michelle Baglini. Stephen Healy has Paul Jackson next to him. But our last row, top 50, Gianni Longin, Bob Kern, not setting times, neither did actually Paul Jackson ahead of them, but everyone has taken to the grid around 50 cars.
Yes.
That's not around,
amazing.
8 round, so in like a whole 50.
Yeah.
At Mosport. Yeah, I feel so sorry for Paul Samuli, who's covering for Josh today. He's covering another race going on the channel right now, CMS ARTS. A GT3 and a GTP League, which I don't think they've even got that many drivers in their race, and that's a multi-class endurance. This is single make. All the cars are the same, and this all comes down to just how good the driver is.
Yeah, this is, obviously with the size of the grid, and this is going to be a very, very tricky first lap. The Formula 4 race actually went pretty well. I think we had really only 1 or 2 cars that off-tracked during that, so no real incidents. So hopefully we'll get that same start here. And if we do, oh man, is it going to be crazy on that first lap. We may see 4 wide down the front straight, or the back straight, excuse me.
Well, Charles, I'm
getting ready to get in the S's. Go ahead.
I think we've had a few people bump into one another because John Smith, Bryce Evans, Stephen Healy, Sergio Girelli and Stevie Ray have all jumped to the pits. So I think there might have been a bit of a concertina effect in midfield potentially.
Yeah, you may be right. We see Brad Gould. He's making his way around. Not really sure what's going on here. It's kind of interesting.
There's McCain. Unless the server's freaking out, just coming in front of the Porsche 911 safety car. Panero, well, he's out in front as let's get ready to go racing, folks, as we are green. And we are racing about, right, apparently I've had a message from Stevie Ray via Discord about this issues with 1 DQ, new session going to go up, 2-lap solo qualifying. So, well, we'll stick with this, folks, and we'll see what exactly is going to happen. There's clearly a few issues with the servers potentially, and that's why we've seen things. But oh, wow, there you go, big one, maybe what we could expect. There's a few Murakami caught up in that. as they all tumble through. David Bryce, Bradford Goodwick, another one, and I believe so everyone else. Other than that, getting away relatively smoothly considering.
Yeah, and yeah, as we get ready to come down here, this big group, 3 wide, that's not going to work. You can't go 3 wide in the Moss corner. You see the leap of the car over the curb on the inside.
A bit of a leap of faith, I think, and I think maybe a few of the drivers obviously aware of what's going on, and that's why a bit of extravagant moves being played out here.
Yeah.
That's why they attempt to go 3 wide into Moss corner. You don't do that even on the best of days.
Exactly right. As you see 3 wide at the end of the Andretti straight, coming into the S's. You know, everybody gets through there cleanly. I think they've realized that, yeah, we could take some chances, but let's not get anything, let's not get too crazy here. But yeah, 3 wide and Moss. I mean, 2 wide is going to be tough most of the time. 3's just, as we saw, pretty impossible.
I mean, as this a bit of a trial run for things, Marnie and Race and Pritchett. I mean, you've got to love this, haven't you? Top 3 Masters.
Yeah. Yes, of course. You know, obviously it doesn't count for anything, but still nice to see them up front. Yeah, I think Pinero just bailed at the end of the lap and said, "Yeah, I don't think I need any more practice. I'm just going to kind of park it, and we'll get ready to get into the other server."
Well, I mean, he's been so dominant, hasn't he? I mean,
yes.
For the last, well, not just last season. I mean, it stems back pretty much a year, I think it's got to be now, hasn't it? It just lives so strong in my memory, that Long Beach race, which we covered, where he just, there's different leagues, and then there was just what he was that day. It was like he got, like double or triple the power in comparison to everyone else.
Oh, there's a wreck. So no, I think it was because it was, I mean, he had won races, but they had been, really good battles with other drivers, Don Toss and Dudu Castro, Jorg Monty, a couple of other Masters drivers race, and but then for whatever reason, Long Beach, he basically, everything just lined up, and I think he won that race by 15 seconds or something, and it wasn't even, he probably could have lapped the field if he chose to. It just was dominant. So it's and since that time, that's the way he's been driving. It's just been, when he's in the race, more often than not, he's going to end up winning by, several seconds, and really hasn't been a challenge except with his own mistakes, most of the time.
Well, with everyone pretty much out and heading across into the new server, I think it's probably a good time for us to do the same. So we're going to head to a quick break now. We'll be back. Hopefully the server will hold together and won't yearn and groan under the wake of 50 drivers around Mosport. We'll see you very, very shortly, where we have an attempt to getting away here at Mosport. See you shortly.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome back, and wow, the new server is up. Oh, we go again. Qualifying going to happen all over again as well, isn't it, Charles Michel? So the driver's got 3 laps. It's solo quali as well, so that just makes it all the more interesting in some ways.
Yeah, it does. Now you don't have draft help, so it's how fast can you make your car go by yourself. So it's going to be interesting. I think the lap times will probably be half a second to a second slower for as far as the quality times. And yeah, so take 2. I did see the note where the with the old server, and so yeah, we'll get this thing going, and we'll get a take 2 on that start, and we'll still have us a good race.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? It's, see how things pan out. A few drivers just heading out on their out laps now. There's Kane Lasky, one of the first drivers out of the blocks. And, well, it's double-edged, isn't it? Because just thinking about this. And, well, much higher track temperatures as well, that we saw earlier on. 84 degrees Fahrenheit, what we had for the Formula Fords. The SRF's 96.
Yeah, so yeah, May 1st, a May 1st race date. Obviously, Canada in January is not that warm. So it's you just got to take your chances, and if they set the server up to just auto generate the weather, some days you'll get overcast in mid 80s, and then you get a day like today where it's got some sun and the track heats up, and so now you've got a little more slipping that you're going to have. So it might change how these drivers attack this track. Actually, you're going to get a more slippage. You're going to get more tire wear, so you may have to just kind of be a little more cautious on your corners. So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this, if anybody's strategy changes. Obviously, with the fact that you're going to do solo qualifying and you're going to get a second chance at it, we'll see if guys like Gardelli or
I'm just trying to.
I'm trying to think of the other guy's name. Yeah, Gaspers.
Yes.
Yeah, they see if they'll try and shoot for pole.
I'm trying to scramble here to make my way through the list like for the second time, but I can't see any Gaspers.
Interesting.
There you go.
Oh.
Samuli's on the ball.
There we go.
Someone knows what they're doing around here.
Yeah, and the name I was trying to think of was Dorelli, right? So
Yes,
obviously,
Sergio
yeah,
Dorelli,
so
yes.
obviously he's got a chance to try and shoot up to the top of the grid also. You know, we know Panero and his ability, so we'll see if one of these other two guys can go up and challenge him from the front.
Yes, of course, well, he qualified 25th in the previous session, so would it be 25th again for him? We're going to find out very, very shortly. Driver's got 3 laps. They're so low, as we mentioned just now. And who's going to be the first one across the line? Well, that will be Kane Lasky. That's definitive. I believe. Oh, no. Bradshaw's going to be very, very close with him as well. So they're going to be the first couple of times we're going to see on the board, and then they're all going to fly through because they're all
Yep,
not too
Kramer's
far
close.
behind them.
Yeah, there's several that are right at the end of the first lap, so should see a group of times come up here.
Okay, Trenton Kramer first on the board. He goes, well, first, then fourth. Lasky looking good there, 3/10 faster than him off. Bobby West up to the top. Antonio Race now with a 1:29.7. Anyone going to beat him? Jeff Fritcher up into second. Oh, you'd love that, wouldn't you? An All Masters front row. Yeah, Favini into third, demoting West down. Jurcevic looking top at the moment for Spec 2 after the first round of time. So there's Panero just casually slaps that one in there. As Gaspers as well. What did he manage? Invalid lap time. Interesting. Interesting. Or is he electing just to do the whole last to first challenge now?
Maybe Dorelli P5. So definitely an improvement for his qualifying.
Yeah, just 20 places higher, you know.
Yeah.
But still only good for second in class. Interestingly, thanks to Race, Marnie, and Fritcher. I mean, Jeff Fritcher, we talk about drivers who've improved. He's one of them. He is. He's always he's been there or thereabouts, but you know, he's sort of sat outside that top sort of group realistically. But then all of a sudden, he just seemed to have, you know, found a bit of pace, not that he ever really lacked pace, but you know, found that bit of extra within the car. Lasky goes second there. As drivers coming around to complete their second lap now. But you know, hats off to him. One of the really most improved drivers, and really starting to get stuff together. Murakami up into fifth. That drops Richard down, who the second lap goes slower for him, so he remains in 6th place. Kabanka up into 6th. That demotes Fritcher down. So who's had lap times the least so far? Bob Kern, Claudio Gardini, Les Plaver, who started higher in the first race. Vaglini, Perlet, Walker, who qualified well as well, the Scot. Longin, Gaspers, and Nelson just coming around to start his first lap. So he's left it late in qualifying, with 5 minutes on the clock here. And there you go, Les Plaver. It's the time on the board. It's up into 15.
Yeah, and I think with the 3-lap qualifying, it being closed at 10 minutes, you're done. You know, there's no carryover. So at 10 minutes, that's the end of qualifying, and if you haven't set a lap, then you're starting in the back. So yeah, you got to at least get 1 lap in, or you're going to be, you know, at the back of the field. Obviously, yeah, you know, Fritcher, as you said earlier, has definitely improved. You know, normally we would talk about the 3 that you see there in 3rd through 5th. Race Monty Murakami is kind of the head of that Masters class. Fritcher obviously has done a really good job, is improved, and is starting to add his name up there as well. So it's always good to see that.
It is. The more the merrier, but it just makes it all the more tighter and harder, isn't it, to break inside the top 10. There's Kabanka done with his qualifying. He's looking good for 6th place right now. Fritcher done 2. So Panero. Lasky trying to go 1 more time. Although, actually, no, he's on that lap. He's finishes a allotted amount of laps, so he will not be able to go again. Gaspers. This is going to be another time deleted. To cross the line, we'll wait a few seconds just for it to tick over, and yeah, that is another time deleted. I would. We saw it, of course, didn't we, of Watkins? You alluded to that in the first qualifying, effectively. You know how he just elected to start at the back, have a bit of fun, and make his way through the field. And we was talking about in the build-up as well to the first race, which we've had to abandon. Hence why we're back to qualifying here in the SRF Weekend Warriors. You know, with that high ride rating, you've got to win every single race. You know, second sometimes you can lose high rating.
Exactly.
This is the only real setting where he can have a bit of fun, he can overtake people.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, he can start in the back. It doesn't bother us because this is a private event, a private league, and so our rating is nice to see it. When you're in there. So we got a 10K driver here who's going to race with us. That's kind of cool, especially these big two guys that are fairly new, still kind of new to the service. So yeah, it's good to be out there with the guy. But yeah, he can come out and race. Obviously, he's talented enough that he's not going to go out and intentionally wreck anybody. He's just going to go out and just try and make passes. And move up the field and see where he can end up. So yeah, it's always kind of fun to watch that, and we'll be keeping an eye on it, I'm sure, during the race.
Michael Nelson leaving it late here. He's only just starting his second lap, so we'll just squeeze that third and final lap in, providing he doesn't have any issues whatsoever. Looking at 19th at the moment for Nelson. For Vini, he's had a good qualifying to be 12th. He'll be happy with that one, that's for certain. So, well, actually, that's with Nelson now. He's jumped to the pit, so we're basically pretty much done. We're just going to wait for the clock just to end here. Click across onto that 10 minutes. And then we can run through every one of exactly how they're going to start with the official grid.
Yeah, you get to go through the entire list of 50 again.
I know. It's like, I haven't had to do it for 3 weeks, so it's one of those, isn't it? Where try and make up for lost time a little bit. Just having a look at the calendar ahead, we've got. Yes, that'll be correct, won't it? Yes, it will be. Oran Park in a week's time. Then we're back to Willow Springs. We've had some great racing there.
Love Willow Springs.
You do, don't you? It's just. Then we've got Tsukuba. That could be interesting if we have a 50-car field for there, to say the least. 2 kilometers, 50 cars. Yeah, that'll be dicey. Belle Isle, that will be dangerous. Road America. Now, round 10. New Hampshire Roval. I've never seen it raced. I believe it's only the second time it's been raced in iRacing officials. It also appears on the official calendar. I don't even own that track. I'm so fascinated to see that one. That's either going to be a dull race or it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, I think most of this group is probably in the same boat we are. Is like, did they even have a road course there?
Yeah, well, it looked at it, I thought, are we going oval racing? No, we're not. We're going roval racing at New Hampshire before we round the season with Laguna and Sonoma. Oh, Sonoma, then a great way to end the season. Oh, that was a classic one we had last season. Well, here's Grid 2. Marco Pinheiro and Kane Lasky this time are your front row. Jason Green and Antonio Race, your qualifier in Masters, make it row 2 with an all Masters row 3. It's Marnie and Murakami. Kabanka has Fritcher for company in row 4, with row 5 in your top 10 being Bandro Dantas and a Les Plaver. Sergio Drilli qualified 25th, now up to 11th in qualifying 2. Adrian Favini starts alongside him on row 6. Row 7, that's Bobby West and Jason Perry, the all British row, with Claudio Gardini joined by Adam Bradshaw on row 8. Row 9, Flavio Andalo and Arins Jusovic, with Michael Nelson and Bradford Gould running at your top 20. And row 10, row 11, Phil Barry and Kurt Nunez, with Chris Montgomery has David Payne for company, hoping for another good run after getting third in the Formula Fords earlier on here today on the channel for a Mosport home race. Looking forward to see how he gets on. Row 13. So we wait. There we go. Trenton Kramer and Jim Brewster. Caleb Pocock has Alan McCain for company on row 14. While row 15, that's Stephen Mitchell and Arthur Loriot for the top 30. Chris Thorpe is next to Jeff Cantor, while Brad Cathcart and Tom Gradwell make up the all-Australian row 17. Row 18 is Stevie Ray and Jeff Jacobson, while Charlie Vaccaro and Paul Jackson are on row 19. Row 20 and top 40 is John Smith and Gary Walbolt. Josh Justice and Stephen Healy make up another Can-Am row on row 21, while Bryce Evans and Sean Vincent are on row 22. Row 23 is Michelle Vaglini and Bob Kern. Row 24, Josh Perlett and David Gaspers, who elected not to set a time. And the same can be said about Ryan Walker and Gianni Lonkin, who line up on row 25, top 50.
Yeah, and even after the second attempt at qualifying, we still had 30 cars within a second of pole.
I know. I think that, we talk about the pace, being very, very similar. And I think sometimes, as you said earlier, it can be a little bit deceptive, can't it, Bate, because of that, that slipstream effect that you have from open qualifying, and it can sometimes give you maybe a bit more of a better lap than, what you would have got from close quali. However, having just said all that, that close quali session just reinforced the point just how close all these drivers are.
Yeah, it does. It just shows you the quality of the field that we race week in and week out here. Where you've got 3K drivers and 7K and 8K and 9K drivers that are basically within a second of each other on track. And with these cars, the way they draft, all you got to do is just hook to the back of the car in front, and we're going to have this nice long train. Probably lap one down the straightaway, you may see 3 or 4 wide. Hopefully they won't try the 3 wide in the Moss corner this time. So it'll be just getting this race going and getting it underway cleanly. Then we should be in for just an amazing race.
Fingers crossed, Charles. Fingers crossed. Well, Kern has jumped to the pits. Not too sure what's caused that one. So down to just the 49. Assuming he doesn't elect to start from the pits, which in some ways might not be a bad shout. You never quite know with these big grid races. But Porsche 911 safety car just about to pull in. We stand to Marco Pinero to control the pace as they round White's corner. Let's get ready to go racing for the second time this evening here in the SRF Weekend Warriors, as we are green and we are away down to turn 1. Then we're playing it a little bit calmly on this second attempt at getting away here, but that's not stopping the free wides in the mid-pack. The argy-bargy. Everyone side by side, a couple of people running wide, just able to save it thanks to this off-track physics and hold on tight, rather than running all the way out to the wall here. As they head into Quebec, it's all got away cleanly, Charles.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Everybody that came through turn 2 came out of turn 2. We did have a couple of close calls there. So now we're going to make the run down into Moss.
Look at that. Not looking like any free wides, but I say that. Nearly there. In the background, Trenton Kramer trying to make the pass to Montgomery behind him. Nelson in front of him. And everyone still nose to tail as we head down the Mario Andretti straight away for the first time this evening. And no one really moving around too much. Kramer at 4 spots, so he's had a good start. Gasper's up 9. Other than that, just only a couple of places swapping around here and there. Our top 4 remain completely unchanged. So we head into the S's for the first time proper this evening. Just remaining tentative, aren't they? It's intriguing. Yeah. There's nobody pulling any punches.
No, it's just, I think that they're realizing that we're going to have this nice draft train for a while. So, they normally get, as we see a spin there, that was Bradwell.
Oh, that's gutting for him. Yes. Drops it 15 places right down to the back of the pack. That's Josh Perlett just in front of them. One of the 3 Canadians we've got here today in this field. Yes, he is. John Smith and David Payne being the other ones who've not had the best of starts. Oh, apologies, Stephen Healy as well. Missed him out.
And so we see, I was looking at Nelson and Pocock there. That's around 20th position on track, and they're still just basically, lined up. There's no real big gaps in the field right now. So as long as there are not any, we'll start seeing the gaps when people make mistakes, or we start getting these side-by-side battles through the corners, which always seems to create a little bit of space for the cars in front of that.
And just just having a look to get bigger than a gap of a second, Charles. Going to go all the way down to, well, Alan McCain in 27th now.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I think we may just see this draft train until time for pit stops, and you'll start seeing guys peeling out based on their strategies. You know, where's Green? Okay, we always want to look for Jason
Third.
Green. He's in P3. Yeah, he'll, you know, my guess is he'll stay in that area. You know, his fuel strat is going to be, you know, run it lean until we get to the stop, make a quick stop, and see if it helps him out. So as long as he's up there in that front group, he's not going to be worried about making any fights for position changes. But at this point, looks like no one else is either.
Well, that now brings me on to bit of a moment there for Antonio Rex. Holds on tight though. He'll lose a little bit of time to Green, but he won't worry about that. He'll make the foul down the Mario Andretti straight away. However, yeah, it brings me on to the point of Marco Pinheiro is punching a hole in the air for everyone here. And with nobody making any advances, you do have to wonder, how long is he gonna sit there for? How long is he gonna attempt to do this? Maybe this will answer the question. As Lasky, I'm looking to have a bit of a look for the lead there, not getting the move done. Wonder if he backed out of a bit.
I'm wondering if Pinheiro maybe backed off trying to entice Lasky to move up, to let him take the lead of the race just for that reason. We see another spin, Brewster. Oh, good catch there.
Needs to be careful. It's a big hump there, Charles. He doesn't want to beach the car.
Oh, as we see another spin behind it. It's a 210 car, I think I saw. Who's that? Gradwell and
the Gleaning.
Okay, the Gleaning. Okay. So yeah, so in the back part of the grid, got a couple of guys that are struggling a bit with the track. It's a very difficult track, so I can completely understand it. So we can't fault anybody for struggling it here.
But it's, I'm still amazed with Pinheiro that it managed to relinquish the lead to Lasky, although they both backed out of it. I think it might have been a case of just get back into the throttle and at least hold on to it in some way, shape or form. But now then maybe have another go this time around. So everyone makes their way up the Andretti straight away once more here on lap 4. There's been a big insert further down through the field. He's down at Moss. 5.
Jacobson, Ryan Walker,
the car.
Yeah.
Healy, 4.
Yeah.
Oh, and Gleaning around late to the party there. Too much speed. Oh, Gaspers
and
Gaspers as well.
Wow. Oh. And Gleaning just wrong place, wrong time there. So we see Gaspers moving, look into the inside for Moss, and catches the curb, unsettles the car, and I don't think that the car that he was battling gave him a lot of room to work with, and so more contact, and then, you know, the innocent bystanders.
And a few more bits of contact after that as well for good measure. Wow, so that's captured Brewster, Walker, Fort, Gaston for Gleaning, Kurt. Oh, the corn didn't. Well, he came out interestingly, and then has gone back into the pit. So, not too sure what's happened to Bob Kern. Hopefully, he's all okay. Maybe experiencing a few hardware issues, but Gaspers have made up 9 places on the start on attempt 1, which you had to abandon. Incident limit was set incorrectly on the server, so that's why we had some weird sightings of drivers in front of the pace car and all sorts of weird stuff going on. But there is Stephen Healy. He's only dropped the 1 place. He was caught up in the melee and had to back out of it. We saw that was created by Gaspers launching his car across the curbs there in an attempt to make him another place.
Yeah, it's, you know, we talked about it in the first race, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more as we see a car spin. That's one of the dangers of Moss, is if you're a single monitor driver, you don't see that until it's almost too late. That's Bryce Evans that has got spun there, or spun, has been able to get started again, and is back in front of David Gaspers.
And we have a new leader here on lap 6, Jason Green out in front over Panero and Lasky. So those two dropping down a place. Green up 2. Bit of shenanigans maybe going on up front. And Green doesn't seem to... I've noticed when we've spoken to him post-race, he doesn't seem to fuel save in the SRFs, nowhere near compared to the amount he does in the Formula Fords. Feels a bit more, comfortable doing it in those cars, and can make it work to great effect compared to the SRS, where just can't seem to make it. Well, makes it work, but to nowhere near the same effect. And maybe just going for a bit of the raw pace adage here today, and or the feeling, do you know what, you guys are just backing each other up a bit too much as he bounces and like a bucking bronco there on the exit of Moss, and that's why he's definitely not going to be on the lead onto lap 7.
No, I'm not sure if there's a slowdown there or not for going wide out of that corner. I don't think there is. But either way, yeah, he's relinquished leads back down to 3rd. As we see Monty, we know he's not going to be fuel saving. So if these guys are up playing games about letting somebody else lead to try and conserve fuel, Monty will absolutely go to the front of this field in a hurry.
Yeah, it's the one he's made. Do you know what, I can't fuel save it. It just doesn't work for me. He just goes full chat, the whole hog. As this lead pack, it's diminished a little bit down to just merely 18 cars now.
Yeah, just the 18-car train.
It's not far. Actually, it has now reached a second gap between Andalo and Bradshaw, interestingly. Actually, apologies, no, that'll be Andalo and Gardini. So, although they're closing up a little bit, so it's all changed. As you see just how close from that track map, where we've got those groups of drivers right now out on the circuit. As there goes Sergio Girelli up a place on Jeff Fritcher. Lovely little move, textbook move on the inside into the braking zone, into Moss. Job done. Up 2 places now into 9th.
Yeah, that was a good move by Dorelli. He basically set that up a couple corners ahead. He's basically was side by side with Fritcher, and just was patient. And they gave each other room, and he waited for the right moment and kind of did the inside of the Moss corner, out braked him a little bit, was able to take the spot.
Lovely stuff from him. It's the Argentine trying to move his way through the field, looking to emulate that 3rd place that he claimed at Watkins Glen in the last round of the SRF Weekend Warriors here on Apex Racing TV. But Jeff Fritcher definitely not making his life very, very comfortable whatsoever. The front of the pack head through into turn 1. Fritcher darts to the inside. Can't make it happen though. And Girelli just lets the car run out wide, and all good there.
Yeah, it was a kind of a brave move by Pleva there. He came to the inside, took the most inside line possible inside the curb, and you kind of bounce over that on your way out, just trying to get as close to the wall as possible. You can do it. I don't know if these cars necessarily are going to like it if you do it, but they don't always like taking the curbs. But was able to hold it, and but no position gained yet. But he's definitely looking.
He's definitely looking. So there is Vanjo Dantas, line 7 for the moment, and up a couple of places, having started in 9th on the 5th row of the grid, is the Brazilian.
Yeah, just see this, as we see this draft working, and these cars getting the overspeed and looking for a way around. It's almost like they're hitting a brick wall. Is they can get the run, but then when they get side by side, it just kind of stalls out. And so you're seeing some 2 wide battles into the S's, and no position gets changed at that point with Cabanca and Dantas just in front. So he's definitely looking, but it's just the draft is working as far as a big group, but not necessarily. If you move out of that, the car in front still trying to draft off the car in front of him. So you're not really making any progress.
Cathcart and Ray electing for the early stop there. So work for Aero Nom in the Formula Ford stopping right about this time, funnily enough. Got himself out in some fresh air. Was able to set much faster lap times than he was being part of the or what at the time was the lead group. These two haven't come from the lead group. Gasper's into the pits as well as all spinner in the background. That's McCain.
Wow. I'm not sure. Not sure what that could be. Might could get replayed for that one to see how that all occurred.
Well, he's showing us come off track, so I'm wondering whether he's done it by himself. Squeezed a little bit there.
Look at the inside there. A little contact on the left front, and this, broke the car loose, and the rear came around on him. Not real heavy contact either with that car that he was battling or with the wall. So he should be able to continue on, just lost some time. We see 3 wide coming through here.
Gardini on the outside there, couldn't make any progress. As Jusovic and Darlow in front of him, those two swapping around a little bit there. But it's costing them time. Find themselves 2.4 seconds behind Bradshaw, who's part of this lead group. Well, 15th to first, and we're on lap 10. 14 minutes complete. No let-up whatsoever. No let-up.
No.
And I'm amazed that this normally we've broken down to about a top 8 at least by now. But no, still top 15.
Yeah, it's just I think it's just this the track and the draft involved in it. I don't think we'll see any of the front runners. The undercut worked for Nom in the first race. Don't know if it's going to be necessarily that good here because the draft is so powerful, and we saw with the cars as they kind of break out and try and make moves. Once you're out of that draft, you just don't really go anywhere. So I'm not sure that running, especially with the cars in the top 15 running single file, not really doing any change of positions. I'm not sure the undercut's going to be as beneficial here for this race.
Find out, won't we? Yeah, certainly in what, right about 25 minutes time, we're done and dusted here with race 2. So yeah, they're losing even more time. Gardini now to the front in this group, and that's 2.9 seconds behind Bradshaw and Co. in front of them. Wow, major work cut out if they want to try and join that front group, and I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. I mean, it's a consistent and relentless pace. But Pinero out in front, and it seems to be that he's just remaining there, not relinquishing it like we saw earlier on or attempting to.
Yeah, he's decided, okay, I guess I'm just going to have to run up front and just, and take the time because obviously, the more pace he can push, those cars that kind of drop off the end are not going to be able to make that time up. So, yeah, I think the key is to see if we can stretch the field out and then, reduce the number of cars that are in this lead pack, and it gives me a better chance of being able to race for the win later on after the pit stops are done.
It's up the Mayo Andretti straight away. There you go. Husky pushing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Monty not. Monty's looking to the outside.
Green just dabble the brakes there, just to settle the car on the corner entry, and maybe just give a bit of breathing space to Marnie, allow him to come down from that high line. Oh, spin in the background.
No, Dantos.
Was it Dorelli involved? There was another car there, and it was Sergio Dorelli.
Wow. What happened here? We'll get the replay up. Side by side. A little bit of bumping. Dorelli catching the rear of the car. And, yeah, it just looked like he came in a little bit tight and tapped Dantos and spun him. It's, I won't say it's intentional, but it was a very, very close contact.
But no love lost there between the two South Americans, that's for certain. As he said, he just got going. Oh, Gardini loses the rear. And I do wonder, with these high track temperatures, Charles, whether it's starting to bite a little bit now.
Yeah, it may be. With an extra, 10 degrees of track temp plus. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if the tires are.
Another mistake from Dorelli.
Yeah, he may have damage to that car based on that contact that he had earlier. I don't see any damage in the front, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, just another mistake in the moss. Like we said, easy enough to do. So, yeah, but he's able to recover, lost a little more time, and he gets on the back of this 3-car group.
And Marnie now out in front. Hello, he's made a big leap there from third.
Oh, no.
Oh, contact. But that's going to claim some more victims here as everyone's sent scattering across the track. Panero drops to 9th. Lasky kept hold of it, stays in 2nd. But wow, that was the slow globe effect there. Got really shaken up a bit vigorously, and the particles left to descend everywhere around them.
Yeah, and luckily nobody else got collected in that. It looked like everybody was able to find their way around. Kabenka, I think, lost a spot or two just from having to avoid it. As we can see, the front of who's in front of Kabenka? Murakami. No, not Murakami. It's the car in front of him.
Antonio Race. Now he's got extra damage because the front left was a little bit scuffed up very early on. Where he sort of bounced across the curbs a little bit. It was a bit bizarre, really. But there was the bodywork wasn't bent in. Yeah, it was on the front left. But he's got extra damage on the front right to join him. The drivers do have one parts repair to their name, and I get the feeling that's going to be used at this pit stop.
I think you're right. Definitely for race. And I saw the rear end of Green's car has been kind of bumped a little bit, and that could just been from the bump drafting from earlier. But yeah, Race actually definitely looked like he made contact more than what we would see with the bump draft.
Now, top 3 have managed to open up a gap of, 0.6 of a second now. Marnie, Lasky, Green. Race is going to struggle. But if Race falls out of slipstream range, they are in big trouble for that group behind. Because with that damage, it's going to be hard work for him to, he's not as aerodynamically efficient now. Although, might get away with it here, potentially, at Mosport.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch to see if he can just hang with this group. But yeah, that's the obviously the direct effect of the Panero spin after the contact with Monty, is it's created the little natural gap in the field as people behind had to check up and avoid. So looks like Race is doing a pretty good job of kind of reeling them back in. And so Pleva's just got to bring himself up. That's a gap is 9/10, so they're really in danger of getting dropped by this front 4.
He's back up onto them now, so going to keep everyone together. Still a top 14 right now.
Yeah, Monty trying to find an alternate line just to try and break the draft if at all possible.
Interesting to see what Panero does now. Does he? Oh, no. Hello. That's pain.
Yeah, it was like another spin coming out of Moss. There's so many places you can spin there. But yeah, definitely like he might have just maybe wide on the exit. Oh, narrow entry. Kind of gives the car there that he's battling with. And
that's Kurt Nunes, who a bit of argy-bargy on the entrance to Moss there, and then that bore being the seasons of giving. Kurt Nunes giving a bit back in retaliation. Not sure whether it's necessarily intentional, but sharing it out there, the contact between the pair of them.
Yeah. RG on the corner entry, and then Bargy on corner exit, and so it was just tight racing. And I think that probably there was some no, you're not going to pass me that way. I'm going to take that spot back.
Yes, and we've got, just looking at it now, obviously we've got that lead group, or secondary group here, Vjosevic, Andalo, Dantas. And then we've got a gap back to our third group, effectively, being Kramer, Pocock, and Berry. And another gap back to another gaggle with Nelson, Gardini, Lorio, Nuna, Gould. Oh, then we've got big gaps between numerous drivers. Except for this one, this lovely little battle between Walbot, Longin, and Smith as they head down towards Moss. Just Chip Brewster just ahead of them, and if they're clever enough, they'll work together and they'll push each other and they'll get right onto the back of him in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, change for the lead. Lasky's back out in front.
Panero still remains 9. Oh no, he's got past Kabanka up into 8, so he's starting to make a little bit of progress. Friction, the next target for him, and I wonder whether this has changed Panero's tactics at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, now he's obviously in a good position where if he was wanting to do some fuel saving, he could. But it's just this group is back together again. It's like they can't get away from each other. So we've got that 14 car group up in front. They've managed to catch back up and reattach themselves as we see. Antonio Race, even with that damaged front end, is up to third now.
Cabin temperature leapt up a bit as well, 102 Fahrenheit now, so up into the 40 degrees Celsius, low 40s. So definitely a real challenge for these drivers out here. Currently just coming up to 2:15 local time in sim. As change of the lead about to happen once more. Marnie on Lasky. Marnie just carrying so much overspeed on that outside line. And it doesn't even seem like Lasky really lifted, because Race just seemed like he was still in the throttle, but just couldn't make any impression on him.
Yeah, it's that might have been just from the front end damage. He's maybe making up some spots just from positioning his car properly, as we see, and then Green falling back down to 5th, Pleva's up to 4th. So that may be Green trying to do his normal strat with save fuel, even though he doesn't do it as much in this car. But we'll see. The front group wants to try and pull away. So maybe Race is now the cork in the bottle because of that front end damage. He just can't hang in the draft as well as maybe a Pleva or a Green could.
No. It definitely seems to be this part of the circuit that he's struggling with the most. You know, turns 1, turn 2, Clayton, Quebec, through into Moss, turn 4.
I mean, he's doing a really good job of making the time up, though, in the slower section through Moss. Is able to gather back a couple of tenths just from being able to get into the corner better, and doing a good job with that. So as we see another car off, that's Loreo.
Yeah, it's Moss corner claiming another victim is Pleva. Goes in full attack mode right now. No messing from the Cheshire driver.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's up a lot. Let me see.
6. Oh, Panero darts in.
Yep.
And Favini, his teammate, comes with him. Wow. This undercut work.
Yeah, we hadn't really talked about that, but these, we're almost 26 minutes into the race. But because of that big train and the action on track, we haven't really talked about the fact that, the top 35 still haven't pitted yet. Probably got within, 3 laps or so of, having to pit because you're out of gas. So, Panero is the first of that main pack, and he's back out on track now. Dropped down to P27.
Definitely needs to be worried necessarily about that, because no one else has really pitted. Something that Gary Walbort just popped into the pits. So I think, could be all right on that one potentially. I don't think that's necessarily, cause for concern at this stage of the race with... Oh, so that's Trenton Kramer. Arthur will not be emulating his victory in the Formula 4 Spec 2 category from earlier on today.
No, that was not. That's not going to be good for your finishing position, as we see. Another Moss corner. Yeah, just too wide. Tried to turn it, carrying too much speed. Spun the rear, and luckily nobody else was involved in it. So here's Jason Green. I was just about to say that Panero's stoppage time was 11.1. So we'll see what Green's is in comparison to that.
That feels a bit low to me.
It does.
I think even Green, who's, on point when it comes to pit strategies, is going to struggle with that one. Also into the pits are Gardini and Nunez as well. Tom Gradwell just heading in now.
Yeah, so Greens was 11.4.
Okay.
Yeah, so the difference is Green was behind Pinero and Lasky for the majority of that first part of the race and never really led. So Pinero was out front for the majority of it, and so obviously I think burned more fuel. So we'll see if that's if Green took too much, or then maybe Pinero didn't take enough.
Oh, Jesus Mooney just sent us a note saying hot weather, slightly less fuel use.
Interesting.
So we go 3 wide for the lead, and then dip back to 2. And then, do we get into single file on the exit of the S's? Yes, we do. Everyone slots back in. Play that up 8 now. And into the pits.
Yeah.
With Marnie. Who else has come in? West and Perry. Lasky, Murakami, Fritcher, Girelli, Kabanka and Bradshaw all carry on. Yersevic's into the pits too. Our leader in Spec 2. Nelson. I mean, we really are in pit window territory.
We are. Yeah, big group of them. So now we've got, I think, the top 10 haven't pitted. There's a few down further down the field that haven't pitted as well. So about, I would say 17 cars still yet to pit. Maybe 2 laps.
Jeff Cantor's overshot his pit box. That's a cruel pit box to get into, that one.
Oh yeah, that first pit is you almost don't even see it. And as you see it right there, yeah, I'm too late, so I got to back up. And then put yourself in danger of being disqualified for backing down the pit lane to add to that. So luckily it was only a couple boxes and he was able to back up. It's going to obviously cost him probably 5 seconds on the track though.
Reminds me of the first pit box at Alton Park. Does it, Charles? It's equally as treacherous to get into as that one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. That first pit at Alton Park. There's a few tracks like that where you just have to be really aware of where your pit is at the start of the race. Otherwise, you're in a bad way, a chance of missing it.
That's Lasky, Fritcher, Bradshaw, and Dantas. Pocock and Berry also coming into the pits too. So that's Murakami, Dorelli, and Kabanka all carrying on. Flavio and Darlow does 2. But all change once more here. Now, where are they going to come out in relation to Green and Co., who also have Marco Pinero in amongst them?
Mm-hmm.
But this, we keep half an eye on the pit stops, but
yeah,
change for the lead ensuing. Sergio Dorelli, here we go, and he gets it done on track. Kabanka can't follow him through, down into Moss. Lovely stuff from the Argentine. Having rode high, then got demoted down to 13th due to a couple of half spins and track excursions. Now back into the lead, but he is yet to stop like his counterparts that are around him. Also Andalo and Gould yet to stop too. So, well, thankfully, I believe, by my reckoning, Jason Green should lead this. He's leading the chase group, but by the time everyone else comes out, I think they're going to slot in probably just behind Antonio Race, that sort of area. Jeff Fritcher, maybe?
I think you're absolutely right. I think, they definitely should be in the mix, which would be a little odd because normally when we get through the pit cycle, these big groups just kind of seem to wither away. But yeah, if they come out with that group and there's another, if there's 10 to 12 cars in that lead pack, it's going to be a fantastic finish to this race.
Well, I think that's what's going to happen, Charles, as well. Pinero now in charge of it. He knows the time's running out here. Bradford Gould, he's carried on again somehow, some way. An excellent fuel conservation from the American as there comes Dorelli. He's out in front, but for how much longer? Because everyone coming through at a full head of steam. Where will he slot in? It's going to be 3rd. Is it going to be 4th? It is 4th. It's behind your Kamani. So it's Panero, Green, Marnie, Dorelli, and, well, you spoke about that pack breaking up, and it just hasn't. Actually, no, we've lost Kabanka from it, interestingly. We had a bit of a slow stop at 12 odd seconds.
Yeah, 12.7, so 12.8 stoppage. The lead pack were all, you know, low 11s. The high point there was Jorg with 12 dead. You know, Dorelli with a 10.5 second stop, Pleva with a 10.5 second stop, Antonio Race with a 10.3 second stop. So, so it's if one person missed it, a lot of people missed it. But I think that they're on target, and I think a couple of guys just went a little more than they needed to.
For good, pushing the limits here. Look at that, 33 minutes. I think it's going to be running on absolute fumes. Yeah, he's into the pit box. Has to take on some fuel, cannot make it home. He's done a valiant effort to make it a 33.5 minutes. However, off camera, it's Marnie, Green, then Panero. So Panero's dropped 2 places, but he's being pushed by Dorelli. And they've got a bit of traffic we're coming up onto. Who is that?
Yeah.
Oh, Jurcevic. Interesting, because is that Jurcevic? Yes, it would be, wouldn't it? Interesting, because he was leading Spec 2, so he's lost a whole heap of time. Did he get done for? Yeah, speeding in the pits, 52 seconds stopped.
There we go. Yep, that's exactly what that is. If you can look at the number and subtract 40 from it, it looks like a regular stop. That's a speeding penalty on pit entry. And you know, obviously, it's not the first time; it will be the last time that's happened during one of these races. So yeah, the last 5.5 minutes of this race is going to be very, very interesting. We've still got that big pack. Basically, the top. Well, I mean, you really realistically, you know, maybe the top 14 at this point. There's a couple larger than normal gaps in there, but there's still just look at that big pack of cars.
Just seeing that previously, that's Phil Berry. He's leading Spec 2, but Pocock right behind him. Wow, I tell you what, the pushing train is in full swing here on lap 23. Everyone jockeying for position. They can see that back marker in front of them. Nobody wants to get caught out, and you have got to feel for Ardis Jurcevic. How does he handle this one? We're about to find out as Lasky dives to the inside. And he gets the move done on Marnie. He's up into second. That's 2 places gained in the last lap for Lasky.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Yeah, just fantastic driving. They're giving each other room, and they're trying to make moves. You know, and the closer we get every corner, it's a little more aggressive because everybody's trying to get as many, you know, points as they can and see if they can get to the podium for their class. But Green obviously doing a great job out front. Lasky's, you know, trailing and bringing that group with him as we're coming up to Jurcevic.
Tell you what, both Dorelli and Race looking a little bit skatey on the brakes right now, a little bit nervous. Bradshaw just running a little bit wide in the background there. Green getting the slipstream up the hill now, though, just when he needs it to try and maintain this gap. It's 0.8 of a second, and while they're fighting and while they're going 3 wide, Green can walk away from them as Marco Panero splits Marnie and Lasky down into the S's. Can he claim both places? Well, he can't quite get, though. It's just the one now for Panero. Wow,
yeah,
that would have been tight.
Another lap car that kind of just pulled off to the side there and got off the track. It wasn't Jurcevic. I think he's still out in front of this group, and so Green's going to have to do some work to get around him and see if he can use him as a kind of a rear guard as we see Barry come into the pits.
That's gutting because he was leading Spec 2. Pocock had just overtaken him, so clearly needing a bit more fuel on board. Well, that breaks up that battle, and surely it's going to demote Berry off the podium in Spec 2. Gutting for the Aussie.
Wait.
There we go.
Through? The drive-through?
Yeah, that's a drive-through.
So, yeah, 18x as far as incident points are concerned before you get the penalty for the drive-through. And so he's obviously hit that limit. And, yeah, that's definitely taken him off the podium for Spec 2.
mean, you'll be hoping maybe, excuse me, for a bit of misfortune. Dropped him down to 5th in class. David Payne currently 4th. Then we've got Montgomery 3rd, Kramer 2nd, and Pocock leading Spec 2. Talking of leading, Lasky has just got ahead of Green. Oh, has he? On the overlap, around the outside into the S's. It's looking like, because where are we? So we've got, it's not going to be white flag.
No, it's going to be 2 to go at the line.
And it's looking, for me, Charles, it looks like 2nd place is the place to be. 3rd, it just feels like you just can't quite get enough of a run.
I think you're absolutely right. I think 2nd is the right place to be for this last lap. But you know who's going to be in 2nd place when we get there, because you know you got Panero and Pleva are back there, and they're going to try and get to that position down the straightaway for this lap to prep for that final push on the last lap.
Jockeying position now in 2s to get in the right place for the right time to strike. On board with Panero, Green in front of us, and then Lasky through Moss. Can Panero get... Oh, hello, who's that? That's Alan Bradshaw pulled over.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't even look like that's been a spin either.
It doesn't. And he's... Oh, you know what? He had his wheel turned all the way to the left. I think that is hardware failure.
Okay, right. Well, meanwhile, up front, here comes Plaver.
Oh,
there's
no.
contact. That's Lasky off into the wall. Right, he's out of the equation, and he's across the camera.
Airborne. Oh, no.
Race and Murakami.
Oh.
Well, that's taken some drivers out of the equation because white flag in the air now. 1 lap to go here from Mosport. Who's going to get it? Green leads from Plaver, Panero in 3rd, then Sergio Torelli resurrecting himself back up through this group. Marnie at the tail end. Realistically, it's between this top 5. Who takes it? West and Fritcher have just fallen off the wayside a little bit, 8 tenths behind this group, but you never quite know if they start battling. And Green will be desperate, so desperate for them all to battle over 2nd. So they can try and claim victory here today as they come through. Come back,
no.
that could claim it. That could claim it.
That may be it. Yeah, it just looked like, I don't know, maybe Green checked up a little bit. Pleva had to check up hard and then kind of lost the rear, and then there was Panero.
Well, Torelli actually, look, he's 6 tenths behind this. If he gets a good exit here out of Moss, he's not quite out of this equation.
Right.
Green could be the sitting duck. He goes to the inside to hug it. That's Jason Perry off and out of the equation. The Brit's gone. Here we go. We're down to half a second. We're down into the 4 tenths. I think he might just run out of time, and he hasn't got money to push him. I don't think Torelli's going to catch him. As we enter into the S's, Green able to take the racing line, but he's a little bit uncertain. Torelli just closes up into an instant onto the back of him. 1 corner left to go. Green just needs to hold on tight to bring this one home, and he's going to do so as he exits the final corner. He claims victory here from Mosport. Torelli 2nd, Marnie 3rd.
Wow, what an end to a race. Fantastic. And we see Murakami with half a car coming across, more carnage behind Sandalo.
Well, he's going to check up. That's Pocock, who's just behind him. Actually, just gets him at the line in the end. He's going to win Spec 2. Marnie 3rd overall, winning Masters. Wow. I wasn't sure what we were going to expect for the finish, but that was one of the things I definitely hadn't thought of.
Yeah,
Everyone rambling.
Yeah, I think it was everybody just taking chances that they weren't taking at the earlier in the race, and some of them paid off and a lot of them didn't.
You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. Well, it's all that excitement and adrenaline built up after not racing for, well, 3 weeks now. Here in the SRF Weekend Warriors.
So I'll give you the reverse commentator curse. You said Kramer's looking for maybe something to happen in front.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
he finished second in class, so from 5th to 2nd.
hadn't even spotted that one. Well spotted. I'm not even sure how he managed that one. We had so much going on up front that didn't even... well, Berry, of course, he had to pit, didn't he? Because he hit the instant point limit. Montgomery, not sure what happened to him. Has he had to... So I'm going to have a quick scoot across again, see if there's any... No. Not sure. Really not sure. Well, let's take you through some Class 5 results. Sadly, been no interview stage, it's just running massively over time. Jason Green, winner here today by just under 2/10 over Sergio Torelli. Barney finishes 3rd overall, but your winner in Masters. Bobby West on the podium in Spec 1. Fritz 2nd in Class 5 overall. Then it was Kabanka for Fili. Murakami finishes 3rd in Masters and 8th. That was Panero, Dantas ran out your top 10. Race, Plaver, Perry, Pocock with a victory in Spec 2. Andalo, Nelson, Kramer, as you just pointed out, Charles, 2nd in class. There, Gardini, Nunes, gold to run out your top 20. Montgomery picks up 3rd in Spec 2. Then we've got McCain, Vaccaro, Ray, Berry, Payne, Lorio, Bradshaw, 28th. Brewster, Walker running out your top 30. Then Gradwell, Cantor, Mitchell, Jackson, Jacobson, Warbolt, Longin, Cathcart, Smith, Vincent for your top 40, all still on the lead lap. That's a brilliant result. Bryce Evans, last driver on the lead lap in 41st, then 1 lap down. Lasky, but that's looking at retirements now. Jusovic didn't retire, he was still running, but 1 lap down in 43rd. Then Thorpe, then definitely his retirements. Healy, we lost on lap 23. Faglini, we lost 20. Justice, lap 15. Lap 13 for Gaspers. Lap 11 for Perlet, and Bob Kern only made 6 laps of the race. That is all we've got time for due to the issues with the service. Thank you very much for joining us. I've been Tim Cox with Samuna Kumo and Charles Bashal. I will see you in a week's time when we head to... Where do we have to? We're off to Oran Park, double header. There we go. We'll see you from Australia. But have a good week. Thanks so much. Good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS.